Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how my first social media marketing agency clients, almost 4 years ago now, completely changed my life. So guys, if you're new to the channel, my name's Harry. This channel's run alongside Tom. We are co-owners of our social media marketing agency. We joined our social media marketing agencies together around 2 years ago, but prior to those 2 years, before we met, we had our separate agencies and we joined them together to kind of form a super agency because the projects that we paired up on originally went so well. So we thought, fuck it, we'll join them together. And then over time, we've built the YouTube channel and our following on social media, and our agency's grown to, multi 6 figures a year over those 2 years. And yeah, the YouTube channel's here to produce daily content on the social media marketing industry, on sales, Facebook ads, how to run an agency in the correct way, because there's so much shit online now that just tells you the complete wrong way to run a social media marketing agency. So, however, in this video, like I say, I am going to be talking about how my first clients really did change my life for a number of reasons. First of all, guys, the reason why my first social media marketing agency clients changed my life so heavily was, one, because it was the starting point of my agency. That's where it all began. Although I only kept them for 3 months, it really opened my eyes to what was possible. And I think until you sign your first client, until you have that first invoice paid, you see the money land in your bank and you go through the process with a client, it's only then when you realize, shit, so like this is a real business model. I've just been paid £1,500 a month for 3 months, irrespective if you lose them after 3 months because you're a total beginner or not. It then shows you, shit, this is a real business. Like over 3 months, I've made 4.5 grand, and I've done an okay job. I can do this. I can repeat the process with more clients. I can get more clients, manage more at the same time. And that's the feeling I had. I remember. It took me 6 months to sign my first client, guys. A bit of backstory if you're new to the channel. I started my agency and it took me 6 months to sign my first client. I was working fucking tirelessly to sign this first client. Everyone else seemed to be getting them, and I know what it's like to be in the beginning of your social media marketing agency. You follow people on Instagram, you watch YouTube videos like this, and you think, fuck, like everyone seems to be signing a client. Why the fuck can't I sign a client? If it's that easy, everyone's posting it on their Instagram stories. Every fucking Instagram guru's posting, screenshots of messages, and I'm guilty of that. It can be a bit draining when it's like, shit, I can't even book a meeting. And that was me in the first 6 months of my agency. I was so lost. I had no idea what to do because I didn't have the correct blueprint. I wasn't saying the right things. I wasn't doing the right things. It was just a mess. However, on the brink of me almost giving up with my social media marketing agency, and I sat down, I got over my fear of cold calling. I started cold calling, and on my 6th cold call, I signed my first agency client. It was a dental practice in Manchester. I drove 3 hours up to Manchester, sat in the foyer of the dental practice. This was before COVID. So like Zoom, obviously Zoom existed and virtual meetings existed, but there was more face-to-face stuff going on. So I went up to Manchester in England, sat in the foyer in my clapped out car at the time, and sat there, did my presentation to him, and he said, Harry, let's get going. And then on the drive, I remember leaving the practice, shaking his hand, and said, right, I'm going to send over my invoice and my contract. And in the car on the way home, like turned the volume so high up and was just blasting tunes all the way home. And it was an amazing feeling. And that feeling there, I do get that feeling when I sign clients still to this day, but that feeling there was the absolute peak. And I knew, I remember saying to myself, this feeling I have to get again, because it was the adrenaline of walking out your first sales meeting. And I was like 19 at the time. That the feeling of like, shit, like I've now got a business, because until you get a customer, you might have a website, you might have a domain, you might have registered your business, but you don't really have a business until you have a paying customer. And especially if it's a customer that's not in your inner circle. And that's not saying inner circle clients aren't amazing. It's the great way to get your foot in the door and get a testimonial. And when I say inner circle clients, I just mean that your uncle's business, your uncle's brother's friend's business, or whoever's in your inner circle, a business you can work with to get testimonial. Until you get that first client who's a complete stranger, that feeling you get walking out the meeting or off the Zoom call and the invoice gets paid is an amazing feeling, and that's how I can say it changed my life, because that feeling instantly showed me what it felt like to be a business owner. while everyone else might, especially like 19 years old pre-COVID, while everyone else was out grafting at, labor jobs or grafting at just any kind of job, or even an office job, I had on my own managed to bring in £1,500 in revenue as a 19-year-old kid doing cold calls and setting up my online business. And that feeling there, I instantly knew SMMA is the one. I just knew it. I thought if I could sign him for 1,500 quid off 6 cold calls, although it took me 6 months to get there, that's just an investing time into the industry. 6 cold calls. Obviously, you don't sign a client every 6 cold calls. That's just unrealistic. I wish it was that way. But all I needed to do was if I could do what I've just done there by traveling up to Manchester, signing a client for £1,500 a month, if I can do that 10 times, that's £15,000 a month in revenue. And you can sit here and listen to these videos or this podcast all day long, but until you see that money come in for the time that you can relate to it, so you can say like, right, I put this amount of time into cold calling and this was a $1,500 client. Until you see that, until you do that, I don't think it's possible for you to believe that you can make $100,000 a month. Because I remember when I first started, I saw people saying, 50 grand a month, 30 grand a month, 100 grand a month. And I just thought, you just all talking so much shit. It's not physically possible to make that amount of money unless you're a celebrity, unless you're a footballer, or a soccer player if not in the UK. Like that, I didn't believe that was possible. But once I signed that client and I knew how much work went into it, yeah, a lot of work went into it. But in terms of like the time between the initial cold call, finding the right person and going to the meeting, it wasn't actually a lot of time. So I think it really did change my life because it opened my eyes to how much money really can be made in the social media marketing industry. And I think people always talk about, is SMMA getting too saturated? Is it going to end? Is something else going to come out? And obviously, eventually, SMMA is going to change. It won't be like SMMA is dead. It will be over time, SMMA changes into something very different because of saturation, because the platforms change, potentially because of AI, and hopefully your agency will just adapt with it. But you need to be conscious that this SMMA kind of time period where we are now, this is the most in-demand service and by far the best side hustle to get started online. So if you miss this opportunity, if you wait 3 years, if you wait 2 years, or even wait 6 months, you're missing a massive chunk of the opportunities that sat on your doorstep. SMMA is a business model that you need practically no money to get started. You only pay things once you get going. We've done a video on this channel of how to start a social media marketing agency for $13. And if you're not buying a course, what do you need to spend money on? Nothing. All you need to do is get on YouTube, learn the services. If you want to learn them faster, because you don't want to spend months and months learning everything and trying to find different pockets of information, purchase a course. And just learn from someone who's where you want to be, and don't miss out on the opportunity that's literally on your doorstep for the next 3 to 4 years. It really is. Although it'll change over those 4 years, the opportunity's there and it's there for the taking. I took it 4 years ago, so but you can take it today and experience everything I've done. Everything I've explained in this video. Sign your first client, get your first invoice paid, get your first contract paid, do your first sales meeting. And I can guarantee you, when you walk out of a sales meeting after signing a £1,500 a month client on a 4-month deal, it will completely change your mindset. That's completely different than getting your first drop shipping sale. It's completely different than getting your first stock that you bought for 350 quid going up 2 points. Like it's very different, and it's a different feeling altogether. And I think it will change your mindset massively on how you're going to earn money over the next 5 years. But hopefully you enjoyed that video, guys. Bit of a different one for you, bit of perspective on my part in terms of how it felt to sign my first client, to motivate you. Hopefully you're motivated by that video. If you've not watched our previous video, it was probably one of my favorite videos we've done on this channel, which is I asked 15,000 SMMA owners 3 very important questions, and the answers to those 3 questions, and I explained the split of answers and what that shows about the social media marketing agency. And to give you a clue before you watch the video, it was how much does the average SMMA owner earn, how long the average SMMA keeps a client for, and then another question. And I tie that all together to give you a true representation of the social media marketing agency industry in 2023. But I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. If you did, please drop a subscribe. We appreciate it more than you know, to help grow the channel and get these videos in front of more people. So hope you enjoyed, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 AM